Guys, it's my pleasure to be sitting here. It's been a while since we've done any of the around the ground, so to speak, with our West Australian cycling professionals, and it's my pleasure to be able to have a chat this afternoon with someone who's actually had a very, very big couple of weeks. All kicked off last weekend, which we'll talk about in a second, but. Let me introduce you, please, Michael Storer. Thank you for spending some time and having a chat to us here in Western Australia.
Hey, yeah.
How you been going, Michael? How's everything going for you? I know it's been a big couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's been pretty busy period with me with racing and also working out what to do for next year.
Yeah, so we'll kick on to what everyone got pretty excited about over here. I know I did, and you know that I'm a big supporter of yours. So I was super stoked to see the results in the weekend. You raced in France, and you raced in a 3-day tour, which I always never get the pronunciation, so I'm sure you'll get it right. But there's the Tour de Lion, which is the French 3-day tour. Beg your pardon?
Yeah, Tour de Lion, I think.
Tour de Lion. And now I watched, so the first stage I got to see was the second stage, and you were in a break. And I think it was a Wanty rider that literally led you into the final couple of 100 metres, two of you away, and he led out in that final left-hand sweeper coming into the finish. And you weren't able to come over the top of him. And I know, well, tell me, I would have suggested you were probably just a little bit disappointed not to get your first professional win.
Yeah, like I would have liked to have won, but I know coming into a sprint finish, like I'm typically like the slowest guy in the group, so I have to win. Second place was my victory for that day. Like
that was huge.
Yeah, I knew that like into that last corner, I needed to be like coming in that second wheel. And yeah, that guy gave me a good lead out in his slipstream. I actually did like some of my best 10-second power of the year to
can you give us an insight into sort of what that power would have been for you?
Not very impressive. I hit a peak of 1100 watts, and I think I did just under 1000 watts for 10 seconds. So.
Well, how about we fast track to 24 hours ahead, and the recording, or certainly the footage that we were getting here in Western Australia, was you in the break, initially in the early break, and then you were able to gap yourself from that second break. As I said, coming in, I think it was around about 30 odd Ks where we first got the footage. You had around about a 30-second lead on that chasing group. Have I got that right? Is that exactly sort of the timeline that you got away from your main pursuers?
On the
third stage, big pardon. Yeah, final stage.
Yeah. It was more from the peloton, because there's like a hard climb. I think it was 8 Ks at 7%, something around that. So then the race really broke to pieces, and then when it was a small group, then I had the energy to attack. And
then you got yourself out there. Looked to me like those final maybe 5 or 6 Ks, you'll be able to give us a better indication. Wouldn't have been a false flat. There was a definitely incline there, and the expressions on your face were extreme pain, but extreme determination that you were going to take your first solo World Pro Tour win, but all the other accolades that came along with that for that final stage for you.
Yeah, those last kilometers are really hard. I think that climb averaged like only like 3% for the last sort of 10K, so it's really not much of a climb. Just
but when you had the chasing group behind you, and they were away. If I'm right in saying the yellow jersey was still in the second group chasing, so you had probably around a minute, I think give or take around a minute on the yellow jersey with about 3 or 4 Ks to go. And I know that he was looking for riders to assist him and in typical form, it was like, you're on your own, pal. So, it was really probably what, as they say in cycling terms, mano against mano, and you were just holding your own out the front there, and that gap wasn't coming down.
Yeah, like it wasn't just about the yellow jersey group for the win, because the Belgian rider in the first chase group, if he won the stage or got second on the stage and I got no time bonuses, then he would have beat me on the GC as well. So it's also maybe I could have won the GC staying in that group, but it's a bit of a risk, and I also wanted to try get a stage victory. So
so you certainly,
even if I got caught, I think I would have been able to stay at that group. So I wanted to take the risk and try and win big.
Oh, look, and Rich, you talk, I tell you what, that was just outstanding. As I said, I mean, I know I was, and I'm sure plenty of other people around were yelling at the TV. Certainly after the day before, where you were robbed of, well, certainly not robbed, but you rode yourself into second position. So we could see that there was so much determination. But what about when you're a K out? So you go under the 1K banner. How much information were you getting that you were essentially holding on to your lead, and what were the emotions like at that stage?
As typical with race radios, they always stop working. So I really didn't have much information. But when I go into a kilometer to go, and I know the gap is still around 30 seconds, like I'm at that moment, I knew that I wouldn't get caught.
And then we saw you were in that position where you could throw your hands in the air, and those celebrations were certainly, as I said, pretty emotional, actually, to be honest with you. I could see, when we did get some footage, after you got back to your team, and you really pretty much broke down. I think you could see that you were pretty upset, as in a good way. What are those emotions like for you, Michael?
In that moment. Really strong. Because I've gotten second, third, fourth, fifth a lot of times. I just really wanted to win a race one day, and it's Tour de Land. Like it's not a World Tour race. It's still really high level. It's a professional race, and to me it meant a lot.
Oh, look, I mean, in that company that you're riding, and I understand where you're coming from there. The bridesmaid or whatever they utilise as a term, for running positions, running places. And you're a domestique. You've done a lot of work for other riders, and we can get into that in a minute. But look, there's another bit of really exciting news for you too. And I know that it hit social media earlier on today, but Groupama FDJ for you is going to be your new team in 2022. So how long have you been sitting on that information, and tell us what the next few years are going to look like for you?
I've been sitting on that one for, let's say, a month. Quite a bit of time. Even though the official sort of contract season starts on 1st of August. So I think even legally you're not allowed to say, like, you're not supposed to sign contracts before that date. You can come to like verbal agreements as well before then, and I think a lot of riders do that.
And how long are we going to see you at FDJ? I mean, what's your contract timeline, and we'll get into some sort of goals for you in a minute.
It's 2 years, and FDJ I should have the opportunity to go for like short stage races, 1 week stage races like Tour de Land. I should have the opportunity, if I'm in good form now. They trust me to go for it. And then in the bigger races, if there's like David Gaudu or Thibaut Pinot, then I'll get behind them for hopefully a Grand Tour next year.
Look, you've got some really, as I said, some amazing talent in that team. There's some riders like you just mentioned there, including Thibaut, who really sort of structured that team and, have a huge amount of passion when it comes to French riding. The Tour de France, obviously, the French really get behind the team. A couple of questions for you. How are you? How's your French these days? I know it was something that Benny O'Connor struggled with when he first went over to his new team. So how's that? We're going to work out for you.
Yeah, I've started learning a bit of French, but yeah, I already speak really good Italian. I can also speak Spanish. Yeah, to be honest, I wasn't too keen to learn a fourth language, but yeah, I know how to do it, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. I just need some time.
Yeah. So we can again, we'll just track back a little bit too. I didn't want to jump too far ahead around the contract, but so you mentioned to me that you're a week or so away from heading to the Vuelta. Your form at the moment coming out of last weekend, you must be really happy with that at this stage. Certainly looking forward to that 3-week event in Spain.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, have some of my best fitness ever. Yeah, I've actually been at a similar level all year. It just hadn't shown so much in the racing yet. Had some good moments at the Giro, but
you did.
But yeah, just coming with that form into a race is also really nice. Yeah, let alone getting results.
Absolutely. So I'm sure everyone will know that another West Australian who rides for the same team currently, same team DSM with Ujai Henley, has also announced that he'll be moving on from the team in 2022. He was also on the shortlist to ride the Vuelta, but I understand that he may be suffering with from the incident that occurred in the Tour de France. So we probably won't see Jai. Is that your understanding as well? We're not sure.
Yeah, at the Giro with the saddle sores.
Bigger pardon,
Giro. Yeah, the team made the decision not to send him. Let's say it's quite a conservative decision not to send him.
And what's your predominant role? I mean, obviously supporting GC, but having that opportunity to secure your own opportunities if they come about, is that something that your team's spoken to you about?
Yeah, I actually need to speak to the coach about it again. Usually the way it works is if you're in a breakaway, typically you're there for the leader or on sort of mountain stages, but if it looks like you can get a result from the breakaway, they'll let you go for it. It's a typical tactic that they play at
Absolutely.
DSM.
And we know certainly that there's some big days ahead of you. So preparation, what's that been like? I mean, obviously the racing last weekend, but in the lead up, what does that look like for you the last 4 weeks or so?
Yeah, I was at altitude camp before Tour de Land. Yeah, and we did a lot of training. Often 30 hours of riding in the week.
Goodness.
But yeah, you need to really do that kind of volume coming into a Grand Tour. You can get away with less, but it's not optimal.
Well, if you want to prepare. Now, this will be your fourth Vuelta too, won't it? I mean, looking at just previous results and certainly through your Palmarès, it shows that this will be your fourth event. So you'll know what it means. Obviously, you come out of the Giro as well, so you'll know what it means to ride on the world stage at that level in the Grand Tours. Do you get nervous coming into that sort of event, Michael? A week or 2 weeks out?
I get nervous a few days out.
Yeah.
It's it's kind of there's no point in wasting nervous energy, in my opinion. More time out. I guess it's also a skill. Yeah, being like an athlete as well. Like you gotta, your mental energy is also important. You have to use it in the right moments too.
Absolutely. And do you work with anyone in that space? Do you have a coach at all around that that sort of space that helps you on top of your actual physical training?
This year we actually got a team psychologist, and also at FDJ they also have a psychologist.
Okay.
I think in the right, yeah, for some people it can be really useful. Like for me, I really like talking to the sports psychologist, but I also know that some riders don't see the value in it either.
Okay. Well, I think certainly we talk about the having the build up in the legs, but if your head's not on and your head's not right, well, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether you're a local club rider or you're obviously at the world tour level like you are. You need to be in the right headspace to perform. So yeah, I certainly would have thought that would be a big part of prep, which is great to see that it's a big part of your preparation. Look, for people who don't know, I mean, obviously, most of our dialogue, we're obviously representing the West Australian community, and as I said to you, in fact, we're really super supportive of how all of our World Tour riders are going at the moment. Obviously, Ben had an absolutely fantastic ride at the tour, and we've seen some great stuff from Jai over the last 2 years. Yourself, that was just fantastic. Jess is certainly pulling a weight when it comes to representation. So we're really excited to see the progress, and certainly I've followed your progress over the last 4 or 5 years. But can you tell our viewers and listeners a little bit about your background? I mean, where did it all start for you from a cycling background?
Yeah, I started just with riding to school, at the very, very grassroots level. Yeah, just riding my bike to school. I was like 8, 9 years old. Yeah, like year 4, year 5 at school, and yeah, that always been consistent thing for me all the way until finishing school. I also started on the track. Gordon Hindley was actually a big influence on that.
Yes.
He was the one encouraging me to have a go, and then then you just go through the years. Like under 15s, you start to like I went to nationals. You don't have to be winning as a junior. It's just if you learn a good work ethic, and race skills is more important than picking up wins, even
Yeah,
in
look,
under 17 as well.
absolutely. And you're a member of the Midland Cycling Club, if my memory serves me right. And obviously went through through that process, and obviously a member of WACE as well here in Western Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
you go first.
I was just going to say, I mean, how did that all influence you as you move forward, into that junior Jayco Australian under-23 team? Was your next step from that?
Yeah, I think it's good having the club environment there, and also WACE. Like there was certain resources at WACE that were very helpful for me. But it's also important to quickly make that next step into back then when there was the Australian program, because they really I got a pro contract at, how old was I, 20. They signed me going into 21 years old. So you want to make that time very fast tracked, very quick into the top ranks if you're ready for it.
Yeah, look, absolutely. That program certainly had, it was really a path that we saw through, club development, at junior academy level, West Australian Institute of Sport, then through into the Australian program, which really, it certainly rocketed a number of our, certainly our West Australian group of riders through that same sort of process, like we've spoken about before. So from now, we haven't seen you back in West Australia for a while. Obviously, there's been this little thing that's holding everyone up from travel, etc. But what are you missing about Western Australia? What are you missing about
home? The club rides, and also good weather, friends, family.
Sure.
The countryside, a bit of everything. There really is. Like the club riding culture in Perth is really special. It's I haven't seen any places in Europe with that kind of culture. I spent like a little bit of time in Glasgow. They had, there was one group ride on a Saturday or something. Apart from that, it'd be smaller group rides. It's not the same as in Perth.
Well, we do see, exactly right, the group rides, the Wednesday afternoon war. You've got the puppers. Obviously, you're a big part of that as well when you were coming through the ranks. Look, I know you're on a pretty tight schedule, and I think as I said, we've covered off a lot of things, and I certainly wanted to just say, like I mentioned to you before, the community here gets behind you guys so well, and in previous years we've been starved of seeing World Tour racing, and thanks to current abilities now with with the channels that we have access to now, we can see all levels of professional racing, and it's an absolute pleasure to follow you along. So Michael, it's been absolutely fantastic to be able to catch up with you, and certainly not only in the few weeks ahead when you head to the Vuelta, but also with your new contract at FDJ next year, which is an absolutely amazing opportunity, and I wish you all the best for that. And as I said, I certainly know that everyone watching this and in the West Australian community are right behind you guys.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
I'm sure we'll catch up maybe after the Vuelta, and we'll see how those few weeks panned out for you.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, Mike. Thanks again. Take care.
Yeah, thank you.